Appreciate
Good
you.
to go. Good to go.
What do you think of the studio so far?
Nice.
Yeah.
Clean. It's a newer building, no?
What did you add this? The side number. Save the date.
Sure.
Save the date. If you need some sponsors, Ivan's got you.
I got you. I got you. Only one requirement.
All right.
Nah.
All right. Ready to go?
Yes, sir.
Welcome, man.
Yes, sir.
Welcome.
Thank you.
How's the drive in? It's a little raining right now, but
Not bad. I guess rather have a little rain than snow. And
Yeah.
I'm 10 minutes away, so
yeah. We're in end of January, we're in February basically,
yeah.
right?
Saturday.
Saturday. I think by the time this comes out, the Super Bowl's gonna be over.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Because it's 2 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
So who do you have right now?
We have two like unlikable teams in there, so it's kind of tough to.
Tell me, as a Cowboys fan, tell me about it. Yes.
I know the pick which poison, but if I had to pick the Chiefs, surprisingly.
So you want the three-peat?
Yeah.
You want the three-peat?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I am a diehard Cowboys fan. So another Eagles championship, I can't fathom.
Yeah.
On the other hand, I'm not the biggest fan of the Chiefs, of
Sure.
Mahomes, but as long as it's a good game.
Yeah.
You
And they
know?
make it not just about the game, it's the whole extra stuff
Yeah.
with Kells.
Plus Kendrick's doing the thing, and
Mhm.
I'm more of a Drake fan. Man, this is not my day. That is not my.
It's gonna be a mixture of emotions.
I'll get the highlights then. I'll probably
Yeah,
not watch.
yeah.
So
As
but
long
no,
as it's
bro.
a good game, as long as it's a good competitive game.
Yeah,
that's the most
100%, man.
important.
So thanks for making it out.
Yes, sir.
I know we've been talking about doing this for a little while. Since I actually started it, you were like, man, when am I going to come on?
Yeah, we're overdue.
But I'm glad we're here. And I'm glad we're here because I feel the timing is right because
Mhm.
of we'll dive into it in a second, like business wise, where you
Mhm.
were when we started talking about this and where you are now. But let's start with some background, right? So Ivan Lopez, realtor with Realty of America now.
Realty of America now.
Which
Yes, sir.
before, are we allowed to say the before name? Is
Yeah,
that
yeah,
still-
of course.
Before it was Realty Chicago, and now expansion nationwide.
Yeah,
So
big
that-
things going on.
That's exciting. So talk to me about how you got to Realty of America, right?
Sure.
When you got licensed to
Yeah.
now your journey to your current company.
Yeah. So I started January of 2019. So we are 6 years to like the T. I think we're like a week off as far as when I started my real estate journey. I think what really wanted me to get into it was I purchased my first home in 2017. Went through a couple of realtors and then ultimately ended up making my purchase with a buddy of mine. I'll give him a shout out, Colleen and Lewis. They helped
Alex.
me buy my house. Yeah.
Oh, no
Alex,
way. That's
yeah.
awesome. Shout out to Alex.
Yeah, so not
Okay.
only did he help me with the process, but I really got to see everything, the background, the intricacies, everything that goes on with it. And I've already in the line of work of like helping people. So I started like the wheel started turning. I was like, if I could help people with one of their biggest purchases, if not the biggest purchase that they make in their life, why not?
Yeah.
And I love doing it, but yeah.
Who was your connect? Like,
Uh,
did you reach out to like Alex and them, like who you work for, or was it just you applied to whoever, or?
As far as where
Your
I went
first
to the
company.
brokerage,
Yeah.
yeah. So I worked at an AT&T store in Downers Grove from 2012 up until I got licensed, and I actually had a customer that was a returning customer would come in every year, and he was a realtor, and he would tell me, "Hey, we've got an office here in downtown Downers. You already know Downers. Would love to have you come be part of our brokerage." So that's how it was. It was a customer from AT&T, and I loved it. I was there for, gosh, was it almost 5 years? And I think things just started getting a little stagnant. It was probably just my work, not so much the company, of course. But yeah,
Okay.
I felt like I needed a little bit of a change, a fresh start.
Sure.
And I think next month's gonna be a year and a half that I've been with Realty of America, Rock /
ROA.
Realty of America, ROA, and no looking back.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been great. I'm definitely happy where I'm at, and I think a leaf turned. That fresh start definitely helped get everything back into perspective and really start like motivating. And
Yeah, I'm always curious about the different brokerages out there, and I have the privilege of working with a lot of agents that work for
Mm-hmm.
as small as like your mom and pop, just one
Sure.
company for agents or single agents sometimes,
Sure.
to big now nationwide, companies like yours. So what is it about ROA Realty of America that you made the jump, because I
Yeah.
feel like sometimes that's a big thing to do, to go from one brokerage, especially after 5 years, right?
Yeah.
So maybe touch on that. What made you make that jump, and
Mm.
then the benefits that you have by working with them.
Yeah, sure. So I think the first thing was a proximity. So I live in Romeoville, and that Romeoville office is 2 lights away from me. So when I saw they opened up the office, it was a couple years ago that I spoke with the managing broker there, Tino, and didn't make the jump right away, which I regret not doing it right away. But hey, everything happens for a reason. And just the support, I had heard a lot of good things about the company. I knew a handful of agents that were already there, and everything from their training to the support um, was really what intrigued me.
Nice.
Yeah,
Okay.
definitely the location, but then everything else. Once I sat down with him, that I saw that they offered, um, definitely
Sure.
made me.
Yeah, and I will say you guys throw some bangers. You guys
that
throw some
is
parties. Yeah.
that is what we're known
If you
for.
haven't been to a Realty of Chicago, Realty of America party, you are missing out. It
Yeah,
is, it's quite the experience.
to say the
So
least. They definitely know how to have fun. I think it's work hard, play hard, and they're
yeah,
firm believers of that.
no doubt. How about your personal production? So, as a newbie agent, did you,
Sure.
we had the market. We're back in COVID years, right?
Right.
Everything just blew up, and then we kind of had that like we're recovering from the hangover, right? Of like
Right.
this craziness, and then uh, flash forward to 25, a lot of both lenders, realtors have left the industry.
Yeah.
So, did you get affected by that personally, or was it something different?
Yeah, no, definitely. And I think whether lender, realtor, this career is, you have to have thick skin, because I was reading up, and I'm sure a lot of realtors know this statistic. Hopefully it's true. I'm sure it is, that 87% of realtors fail within the first 5 years. And I could see how that is, because a lot of it is you yourself. You don't have a boss, you don't have a manager, you don't have a GM. Everything you do is your own discipline, your own motivation, your own work ethic. So if you come in wanting to just think, hey, sell, 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 it may be like that the first year, but then the sizzle definitely dies down. But again, starting back 2019 was pre-COVID. Rates were good, buyers were there. So 19, 20, 21 was good. Again, buyers were there. Interest rates were at an all-time low. And then it was 23 that the spike happened, right? Yeah, 23 is, as far as like production for me, my worst year statistically, and even had me thinking like, hey, is this what I still want to do? Is this, yeah? Because again, and I'm sure you know, and most people do know, if you're a realtor, you don't make money unless you close a transaction. So if that kind of gets stagnant, you have no income coming in. So 2023 definitely was a year of getting tested, and again going back to the drawing board and figuring out like, hey, um, is this what I want to do? Being completely transparent, and I'm happy. I'm happy I made that.
That's an interesting topic. Which first of all, thank you for sharing, because a lot of times, and sometimes I'm even guilty of it.
Mm.
We like to project and share the positive
Yeah,
part of the business,
yeah, it's not all like
which
that.
is like your closings, and
Hmm.
I'm out there working, and which is great, because you don't want to be like a negative
Sure.
Nancy, right? At this, on social media, right? Especially with what else is going on in the world nowadays. You're like, well,
Yeah.
but sometimes it happens. Sometimes we talk to a few agents, and they get, I don't want to say lucky, but they put in the work, and when they say opportunity means preparation.
Sure.
That's what luck is, right? So sometimes they find that, and they just take off, and they've been in the industry 3, 4, 5, 6 years, and they've just seen their production
Increase.
kind of progress.
Sure.
It's very rare that you've had success, and all of a sudden something happens.
Yeah.
So if you can, right? I don't,
Mm.
we're not
Sure.
going to break out the tissues or anything, but what kind of led up to that, and then what helped you kind of spike back up, because you had a record year in 24, right?
Yeah. Yes, sir.
And your
Correct.
worst year in 23.
Yeah.
So
And very
I
rarely
want
does
to
it
talk about
happen.
that. I want to talk about that, because sometimes realtors watch people that might be wanting to get into the industry.
Hmm.
So, go through 23, and then how do we bounce back in 24?
Sure. 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 So I think a lot of it has to do with, again, your own discipline, your own motivation, but most importantly, your time management. Because if you don't structure your day correctly, days go by quickly. You think, oh, hey, in the evening I shut down. I've got, work's done. I'm going to my kids. But I think 2023, I think it was a mixture of just not properly time managing and the interest rate shooting up, and everyone's like, "Oh, now's not the time to buy." They just essentially doubled, if not more, of course. Um, so again, we go back to what is our why. So I'm thinking, hey, 2023, I'm struggling. I do love this. I'm passionate about it. There's nothing else that I would want to do career wise besides this. So that's where I was really like kicking myself because it's like, hey, this is what you want to do. Like, what's going on? So again, I think it was a mixture of the market, time management, personal stuff going on, and yeah, that year was uh, my worst year. I only
Yeah.
did close 5 transactions.
Okay. So you five. Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so I could count how many transactions I did on 2023 in one hand. That summer is the summer that I made the switch. Was it August of 23 that I went to Rock? I think I went to their one of their award parties that they had like on the boat. Got to see everything, and Eddie even told me he's like, "Hey, try to soak it all in and don't basically don't drink too much so you can see everything that we have to offer and everything that is that's offered here." So um, that 2023 summer is when I really was like, okay, this next 6 months, I'm going to really give it my all. And even then, I didn't see any production from, that summer going until the end of 2023. And I think all the seeds I planted and all the work that I was doing pretty much from the summer all the way up until the end of 23 just sprouted in 2024. 2024 started off with a bang and pretty much stayed that way the whole year.
Posted. Yeah.
Um, and I think a mixture of what helped as well too is doing it for several years. That 24 was a year where I had people calling me from like the first 1 or 2 years that either wanted to upsize, downsize, had family issues they wanted, to sell, whatever the reason was. And that was a year that I definitely had a mixture of sales or listings because the first handful of years was just, hey, buyers are, a little bit easier to work with. That's what we got like trained on, or, that's what was um, known for the most part when you're a new agent, focus on buyers, and the mixture of sellers definitely helped. And yeah, 2024 was yeah the
Killed
best.
it. Killed
Yeah,
it. Can we share how many families you helped in 24?
in 2020, yeah, I did 25.
25.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
literally the last 3 days of the year, business days, were closing to get to my number. And I told myself at the beginning of 24, hey, 23 was tough, but 25 is a number I want to hit.
Yeah.
And it didn't sound within reach because again, the past 12 months I had only done five transactions. So go from 5 to 25, like, hey, you might want to make your goal a little lower. But I was like, you know what? Something in me tells me I can do it. I know what I'm capable of. And yeah, with the help of
Yeah.
my support.
Let's talk tangibles because I want to get I always want to get into specifics because I was in that position once where it was like I was a newbie in the industry and
Sure.
I was looking at like the people that were already doing it at
Hmm.
a consistent high level. How do you do it? Like what are the specifics? And you could say things like work hard and get up early and this, but maybe touch on two or three things that you specifically worked on that last half of 24,
Hmm.
23, that led into a I mean, a huge jump in production.
Sure, sure, sure. I really think it was just keeping the relationships that I had built over the years with different people, whether it was obviously family and friends. You're going to keep those relationships no matter what, but past coworkers, people that I had gone to school with, and I really started marketing myself on social media. So I think social media definitely helped me grow my business tremendously. Being able to have people see, hey, this is what's going on. Ivan's a value. He's been doing this several years. So I think marketing on social media definitely helped. And yeah, just being available. Communication's huge. Anytime I deal or I've had buyers that might have worked with other agents or even sellers that have worked with other agents, I'm curious, hey, what was the reason why you weren't happy with the service? And more times than not, it's communication. And our career, helping people is really time is of the essence. So if you're not available, people are going to get turned off by that, and they're gonna look elsewhere.
Yeah.
So going back to your question, social media definitely helped with the marketing, and I think just keeping all the relationships that I had built over the years.
Yeah, I like the relationship part, and I do want to share a story because I feel like maybe that wasn't the source, right? But it kind of led to maybe a change in behavior that you had before
Sure.
and now what you have now. So, um, we go to the same gym,
Right.
right? So, you know, a while back we used to go almost every day, like
Yeah.
3 to 4 to 5
We need to get
days.
back on
We do. I'm wearing black for a reason
Same,
today.
same.
So, and you know, we'd get there and you'd get there first, like where you at? I'm running late and I'm
Mhm.
going up there. And then little by little, you started to, I don't know if you've noticed this. Let me, hold on, this thing is blowing up. Let me put it on mute. Um, Little by little, I was the one that was then like, man, where you at? Like, come on, like you're late.
Mhm.
Like, what's going on? And then you would come upstairs and you'd be like, bro, my bad. It's just I was in the locker room and I met the owner of KHE and I was talking to him for a little bit. And then on the way up, this guy from high school, I started chatting up a little bit to the point where I did not want to work out with you anymore. I was like, I only have an hour before I have to go home and change and go to work. You know, so by the time you come up, I have like 30 minutes.
And I
I'll-
remember specifically, I don't know if it was like the first week or the second week that we started, we're like, hey, we're going to hit it. We're going to be consistent. You looked at me, you're like, how do you know all these people?
After a while, it's like I can't even do a rep without someone coming up and like, "Hey man, how's it going? How are you? How are you?" But that to me spoke volumes as to your intention behind what the end goal is. Right, the end goal is to
Yeah.
help families sell or buy. But how do we get there? How do we get these connections?
Right.
And nothing. I've always said this. Nothing beats people getting
Right.
in front of people. You
Yeah.
can do mailers, you can do drip campaigns, you could do, but nothing beats that person to person. I think a lot of it changed during COVID because
Right.
people got a little bit complacent
Right.
where rates are low, everyone's wanting to buy, and I don't have to work hard.
My phone's ringing.
Right,
Yeah.
right. But now when the music stops and everything's back to
Right.
normal, and you have to go back to a consistent everyday being intentional, a lot of people don't do it, and a lot of people drop off. But I feel like that was part of the beginning of you now,
Yeah.
getting the ball rolling.
Yeah,
Right?
and then looking back into 24, I got a listing from the gym.
There
I
you go.
got a couple buyers, and I think we talked about this right before we got on air. Everything, well, I'm not gonna say everything, but a majority of what I do is organic. You know, it's meeting new people or working my sphere, which is family, friends, past coworkers, people that are just important to me in my life. And luckily, I've had a good support team where partially, of course, it's because I'm doing a good job, but they're referring me.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm very old school. I'm organic. Like I don't want to pay for leads. I don't want to do cold calling. I want to feel like
Stressful.
yeah,
That's stressful, bro.
yeah. And I think that's where some agents are like, hey, there's 100 ways I can get new business. I'm gonna do all these 100 things. And with me, I'm very like, hey, if I know something's gonna work for me and I know I do it well, I'm gonna continue doing that, which again is organic.
Yeah, no doubt. Yeah. And I feel even now, I mean, would you say that, I mean, your bounce back year,
Mhm.
like now you say, okay, 20, you said 25 families.
Yeah.
So now you say 25 families is like, okay, and that was my bounce back. This is not even like my potential. Right.
Right, right.
So I feel like that's the mindset. Like
Mhm.
sometimes when you do 5, you're like, man, if I can do maybe 10,
Right.
right? But then you get to 25, you're like, maybe I could do
Where do I
35.
go from here?
Maybe
Yeah.
I can do 50.
Yeah.
And I feel as long as you put these systems in place, I think you'll be fine. Do you ever see yourself like growing a team, like adding a team member? Because you're only one person, man.
Right,
You
right.
know?
I think before a team, it'd probably be just the help of like maybe a transaction coordinator,
Sure.
just somebody that can help with a little bit more tedious stuff if I'm out doing consultations or showings or listing appointments where, hey, I need to put this offer in. Can you like help put the docs together? Or hey, something needs to be submitted. The attorney needs something. Um, Maybe down the line, but I like running the show and doing things myself. Obviously, I saw last year we could run a little thin if we're not properly like setting up our day and with time management. But so far, I'm able to.
Good stuff, man. No,
Yeah.
absolutely. So let's switch gears a little bit. When it comes to the current market and where you are right now, going into 25, people can predict day and night, right? Everyone thought, and I remember to this day, last year, end of 23,
Mhm.
people were predicting rates are going to be fives by next year, new
Sure.
president coming in, da da da. Now a year later, and we're basically the same.
Yeah.
We dropped a little bit. We were like 8s,
Mhm.
and now high 6s, low mid 7s. We're still kind of
Right.
swimming through those waters. Uh, Obviously, that's more on the lending side, but on the buyer side, is it still low inventory, buyer demand? You know,
So
or what have you seen out there?
2024 was kind of like a mixture of both. You know, the years before where it was multiple offers on literally everything, people going 10, 15, 20, 25,000 over, non-refundable earnest money, waiving inspections. You know, 24 was, you didn't have to do all that. You saw a house that you liked. Um, there was ways where we could still even negotiate like seller credits. You getting sloppy over
Water spilled.
there?
We didn't get that on camera, right? Okay, good.
So where were we at?
The market.
The market. Yeah. So, and I think that's one thing that the negotiations is important. You know, knowing how to talk to the other agent, how to present your offer strongly. So going back to your, we're like in a happy medium. If you want to sell, you could still get top dollar. But again, I'm very strategic on my pricing and how I want to, yeah, basically list the home because that first pool of buyers are really the most interested and the most serious. Um, so
Good.
yeah.
Do we have goals? What's the goal for this year? How many families we're looking for?
If I could put I didn't want to put a number on it, but if we're gonna, I want to be
Put you on the spot.
put me on the spot. I'm gonna say 35.
35?
Yeah.
All right, we'll
35.
check in. We'll check in a few months.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
See
And
where
so
it's
far
at.
the year's starting good.
You started off with some listings.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And again, my
I'm
media.
looking at my buyers, and I'm like, man,
Yeah, you're like, why isn't I even
what's
calling me?
going on? I haven't seen this guy in
So
weeks.
now it's a mixture of both. Where again, you remember
Yeah.
the first several years
Yeah.
it was just primarily buyers, maybe a few listings here or there. But now it's a mixture of both. I'm gonna do a quick shout out. I'm gonna shout out Illuminate Media. They're the ones that do my the videos, the pictures, all the media for my listings. They do a great job, and they definitely help put my listings on a pedestal.
Nice.
So
Yeah.
shout out to Illuminate.
Yeah. I'll make sure I walk you out and not pass Enrique and
They,
over here with
do they shoot for homes? I don't think they're gonna do a
No,
drill.
I'm
They're
just
gonna do a
kidding. I'm
video.
just kidding. There's enough business for everybody, right, gentlemen? Yeah, there's enough business for everybody. No, that's funny.
100%.
How
Cut.
dare you?
He's like, cut.
We're shutting this down. We're shutting this down. No, man. No, I'm happy. And it sounds like you found the right company. It sounds like you found your strategy and how to work it. And everyone runs their business differently.
Yeah.
But the consistent things that I do see is like time management, making sure that you don't overwhelm yourself, making sure that you're spacing things out.
Right.
And I mean, I know agents that can do 35, 45, 50 without 4 or 5 people on the team, but it's
Right.
just a matter of just keeping it consistent.
Yeah,
keeping it,
yeah, and not get unorganized is
Yeah.
the biggest thing. Not get like messy because now you start forgetting things. Now you're leaving things on the table. Now you're
And that's the worst feeling in the world.
yeah,
That's the worst feeling in the world to get an opportunity. Someone wants your help,
right.
and
They value you enough.
You take too long, or
Mhm.
or you're sloppy with it, not give them the right information, and unfortunately it happens. I get calls
Yeah.
every day where on the lending side, like the guy only had 10 minutes with me, the guy didn't pick up on the
Sure.
weekends, the guy. So it's definitely back to business as usual.
Mm-hmm.
And you have, if you want to be in this industry,
Yeah.
the easy part is to get licensed, but the hard part is to keep it consistent with
Oh yeah.
with the income. You know what I mean? So, okay. So how about any vacations, man? You just got back from Vegas, right? You love Vegas.
Yes.
Is that your favorite go-to
In the United States.
in
yeah.
the U.S.?
Yeah, I got to start like expanding out. Like I got to California. I've been in California and Florida, but I need
Okay.
to start making those like the custom ones.
Yeah.
Because Vegas is I don't know, maybe as
We
we
can
get
talk
older.
about Vegas all day.
We
I
can.
love Vegas, bro. I don't know what it is.
Yeah.
Actually, I do know what it is. I just love going there. It's a different experience every time you go.
Yeah.
When I tell people of Vegas, they automatically assume, oh, you're a heavy gambler or you like to drink. Yes,
million-
but there's other things
Yeah.
that you can do. Like I remember one time I went and it was just a hike.
Yeah.
I didn't touch a casino. I didn't go. It was just there's some nice little hiking spots over there.
Little
and then-
excursions.
yeah,
You could do like dune buggies. You could ride like
yeah.
ATVs.
The Grand Canyon is like a few hour drive.
Yep.
The West Rim.
Hmm.
You can, I don't know if you've been out there, but it's amazing.
They're starting to get their
Gorgeous.
sports teams too. When I was just there, I checked
That's who,
out
sports?
what is it, Las Vegas? Yeah,
Yeah.
the Knights. And I had actually never been to a hockey game before, never even a Blackhawks game. Shame on me. For as many Bulls games as I've been to,
Yeah.
I never have been to a Blackhawks game in the same stadium. But no, they go all out. Like Las Vegas, they're diehard sports fans because they only have that hockey team and then the Raiders. So if when I went out there, I was able to check out a game that was cool. And then 3 years ago, I made it kind of a tradition where every summer I go because they host NBA Summer League over there, and it's basically like 3 4 days of like games from like the morning till the end. It's cool. You get one ticket, you can go
Oh,
in,
nice.
catch like 8 games, and it's all like the up and coming players. And yeah,
Yeah, you're good with the basketball, man. You're a pro. You're expert.
yeah, yeah,
I
yeah,
always
yeah,
see your FanDuel
yeah,
your FanDuel stories.
yeah, 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 yeah. I've been,
Which actually you do have a side gig. I was gonna say you only do real estate full time, but you have a side gig which is FanDuel, and you post a lot of wins. You know,
Yeah,
you
I
should
get
post your
strategic. I'm
post your losses too, though.
I know I should. Here, I'm gonna pull them up right now so you guys can see where I'm at career. No, and I'm very like low with the numbers. I
I
know
see
some
them,
people
yeah.
go.
But the payouts are dope. Like you put in what $50 and you make $250. It's like
Depending on how you structure the parlay, I know some people try to hit for the stars home run every time, $25 to win like $1,500, and it's like, you know how many like different things have to go on. I make mine like very
yeah, strategic.
yeah, yeah.
You know,
I do my homework.
it's a for sure.
Yeah,
It's gonna happen.
It's a lock.
It's not gambling if it's a lock, right?
Yeah, there's no such thing as gambling if it's a lock. Because if it's a lock, then
You ever
you're
seen
good.
that? I don't know if it's a TikTok or a video or something where it's like, oh, if you have a gambling problem, like don't gamble.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And then the other guy goes, unless it's a lock.
I think it was it Theo
Unless it's a lock,
Epstein?
then
Yeah, yeah. And the guy looks at him. He's like, "There's no such thing as a lock." He's like, a lock is a lock. Yeah, I know
Yeah.
what you're talking about.
oh, that's funny, man. That's good. Any other future plans for vacations, spots you've never been to, or you want to get out?
No, I
No?
think the next like handful of months is just like really focus on the business. I know I'll get like itchy at some point.
Yeah.
Last year I went to Punta Cana for the first time. That was really nice. DR's different than anywhere else. So maybe go back out there, check it out again. But
Have you been to a lot of beaches? All over, or
mainly just Mexico. So like Cancun, Cabo.
What's your favorite one so far?
Cabo's nice.
Cabo.
Cabo.
Okay. You're like the third person in the last month that have said.
Yeah, Cancun's
Yes, at
kind of
Cabo.
like oversaturated. You think I want to go to all inclusive, go to Mexico. That's 100% the first spot.
Yeah.
PV, Puerto Vallarta's nice too.
That I've been to.
Yeah.
It was a really nice resort.
Mm-hmm.
It was a little. I guess that's my only beef with resorts is that they're very segregated from like the town.
Yeah, yeah, like the actual.
So you're not really in like you're in Mexico, but
You're
the
sheltered
feel of
in-
Mexico.
Yeah,
But I feel it's because as a kid growing up, when I would go to Mexico, it was always like the motherland,
yeah,
El Rancho,
Yeah.
But now it's like I went to my very first Mexican beach last year.
okay,
A dear friend of mine got married, and it was Puerto Vallarta,
okay,
and it was I loved it. Ceremony was beautiful. The weather cooperated. It was amazing.
good.
But I did go away. On the way back, I did think like, I mean, it was beach. It was I heard more English than Spanish.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? So it wasn't like a true Mexican
yeah.
like
For
feel.
tips, they take dollars.
Right?
They'll speak English. Yeah.
I know. I thought I was going to spend a lot because it was Mexico, but they
No, you
they
treat
tax
them-
you out there.
Mm-hmm.
Luckily, I didn't run into any taxi Ubers. Have you seen those online?
Issues.
They're crazy.
Yeah.
There's like a war right now between Ubers and taxis.
Where they're
from the
just
beaches.
like.
So the taxis don't want you to get Ubers.
Uh-huh.
So when you land and you want to get a taxi, most people just get an Uber.
Right, right.
And then they've literally stopped them in the middle of the street, taxis do, and like take them out.
I think I recently saw a video of that.
Yeah,
where,
it's all over.
Yeah, no. And that's what that was, is wow, that there's like literally
It's
like
because they want them. But then you ask the taxi people and they're like, oh, $100.
they're
$100.
That's why they're not. That's why
What?
nobody's riding in a taxi because Uber's charging you $25 for the same thing.
Yeah. So
That's crazy. No, I didn't know about
it's
that.
wild out there. So
Mhm.
I'm actually going to Puerto Rico next week.
Are you? Oh yeah, for
For the President's Club. So
congrats.
thank you. I don't think I'm gonna have an issue there because we're riding deep. So
Sure.
should be a good time, man. So usually towards the end here, what I like to do is, you as a realtor, you're in your community, right? That's how you grow your business. So I assume you run into a lot of like small business owners, a lot of like, up and coming places that maybe someone watching doesn't really frequent a lot that you might want to shout out. So What are some spots that you've kind of ran into or have gotten to know in the last few years of you doing real
Sure,
estate?
sure. And I like my location because I'm right on Weber, so I can be in like Joliet 5 minutes. I can like be back in Romeo because I'm technically in Crest Hill, but again, I'm like right in between the both. So
Yeah.
that's mainly what I like to do. I don't like going to like the chains like
Hmm.
I'm not gonna name any of them, but like big chain restaurants, like I'd rather go support somebody that's working hard for their money, local. So let me think. I'm a big foodie, just like you.
Yeah.
So any spots that I'm gonna recommend are probably gonna be like food spots.
What's your favorite
Um,
type of food? Mexican food?
Mexican food's good. I'm big on pizza.
Pizza?
Yeah, pizza. So if we start pizza, Michael's Pizza.
Michael's.
Yeah, I like Michael's
That's a
Pizza.
well-known staple in the area for
And
sure.
they've been around for a while. There's two locations. They have
Yeah.
Romeoville and then they have one in Joliet, I think like on Canton Farm. And then besides that, even though this is just getting thrown in there because I tried it yesterday for the first time. Casablanca.
Yeah, that was wild. When you told me that,
I'm a little late on that.
he just tried it.
Super late. Super late.
When? Yesterday?
Yeah, because I'm like
How old are you?
I know I know I get my
Guy's almost 40 and barely
hell, I'm
tried.
closer to 30 than 40, but yeah. I get only steak tacos, no plain, no nothing
Yeah.
else. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, yeah.
But no, I was always going Taco Dali, that's another one.
Taco Dale.
So I'll shut that
I know
one
the
up.
owner.
Do you?
Yeah, one of the owners. I always get confused if it's just one or a family or.
Yeah.
But I know one of the owners. She's super nice lady.
You had mentioned that.
But that's a really good spot, Casablanca.
Yeah,
right in the heart of
Casablanca.
east side of Joliet for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah, for sure. So
Okay.
I think I had seen it on Facebook a couple times and I was just like,
Yeah, that's where I take anybody that I work with that lives in like Elgin, St. Charles, Schaumburg, Downers Grove.
move
you
from
know?
somewhere else.
Yeah, I bring them down to some culture and I bring them over there. So
You bring
that
down
and
some-
have you tried la pupusera?
No.
Yeah, pupusas. I think it's El Salvadorian, right? Yeah,
Nice.
something like that.
There's a tamal place over on. Do you know where Nico's is?
Yeah,
There's tamales Coraimas. I don't know if you heard of that.
Corina.
Yeah.
That's her daughter is one of my past clients. Shout out to
Our
Corina.
past client.
Is that who we helped?
Yeah.
Okay.
If I'm not mistaken. Yeah, but Small World,
Okay.
and that's a place too that I've checked out.
She's
That's good.
from I believe Oaxaca, right?
Her hometown. I can't think off the top of my head.
Because I'm pretty sure my dad pointed out because my dad on my dad's side is from Oaxaca, right? Yeah.
Oaxaca.
So I told them we should go and that's a good one.
Yeah.
That's a really good one.
For sure.
Oh, for sure. Okay.
And again, makes sense to support like local
Yeah.
businesses versus like somewhere where you can go to another state and get the same thing.
Yeah.
So those are a few places.
Good stuff, man. Good stuff. Anything else you want to touch on? I mean, I know you were kind of game planning some stuff, but any messages to the world
I think we
you want to give out? That's your camera right there.
Sure,
if
sure,
you
sure.
wanna- any advice? Because I feel like there's got to be some hot topic that's like you want to
sure.
communicate.
I think a big thing, just if there's any agents that might be watching that are like newer or even seasoned agents, they know this. Really important to get a team, and that's where I'm gonna put you on the spot. That will hold you accountable. Because you have people that use tons of different lenders, tons of different attorneys, home inspectors, which is cool to have like options. But I'm very specific on who I'm gonna recommend. So if I'm recommending somebody, it's gonna be somebody that I know that does a good job. So having a good team and a good people around you that hold you accountable. And the reason I bring that up is because end of 2023, I came to you and I told you, hey man, I've been doing this a few years, and you were definitely part of the how should I say it, the
bounce back,
the bounce back,
the comeback.
the comeback. Yeah,
I
whatever
was,
you
I
want
was
to
the
call it.
Scottie Pippen to the Michael Jordan.
You were, man. So I do want to say thank you, for that, because you definitely
Yeah.
helped me, see the light at the end of the tunnel and see like, hey, if you keep going, you keep trying, only good stuff is gonna come. So that
Appreciate it, brother.
Just-
I mean, man, I wish can we put that in a loop for the next.
put that at the beginning.
I'm gonna put that in my
middle,
intro. That's gonna go on my intro going forward.
and put that at the end.
No, you know what, man, and I'm very blessed to be in this position because I do not only get to help out families and make a living off of it as well and helping them secure their home, but
Sure.
I also work with a lot of self-employed people that again, you make it your own, and this is one of those things to where I personally didn't finish school, college, right, and I when you don't have that support, you definitely are kind of limited to your options
Yeah.
of how to make it a living, right?
Yeah.
And I remember before I got into lending, I was like, all right, I'm very bad with my hands.
I can't write.
To hammer something, I'm like, man, I'm taking out a pinky or something, and
Oh, you mean like handy, like
yeah,
that?
like
Okay,
a
okay,
handyman.
okay.
I see people building stuff with their hand. I'm like, man,
I'm the same. Bro.
I could barely change a tire. I could do that. I can change a tire, change oil. But aside from that, I was like, but one of those things where, like, I don't know if in school you talked a lot, but it was like I always see the memes like, for those that talked a lot in school, what's your
Yeah.
career now?
Yeah.
And it's like realtor, lender, people business,
Mm-hmm.
right? So I'm glad you have that, it feels good to see that, because a lot of times I do give the spiel, and my brother tells me all the time, he's like, man, it's like you say the same thing, but there is no other like secret sauce or
Yeah.
other. It's literally just put the work in. Here are the things that I've seen that have made
Mm-hmm.
progress, and some people see that and they're like, nah, I'm just gonna do it this way, or I'm just
Yeah.
gonna try some leads or cold calling, or
Sure.
try, and sometimes they find success, and great, perfect. But this is just
Sure.
how I did it. I was very broke in the beginning, and I didn't have
Uh-huh.
money, hundreds of
And you
dollars
brought
to,
up and you brought it up before too. You're like, I've had the conversation that I had with you with other agents, and it was just in one ear and out the other. People are going to take things differently. So no, you have to be open. You have to be willing to adapt. And what did we say at the beginning? Be comfortable being uncomfortable.
Yeah, no, 100%, man. So, Ivan, it's your first time here, but definitely won't be your last.
Yes.
Thank you for coming by.
Yes.
Again, if you have any questions regarding the home buying selling process, Ivan Lopez, Realty of America, and we will see you next time.
At your service. Thank you very much for having me.